Good evening. Good evening. Welcome back. Welcome back. We have another great show. Welcome, my good looking co-host over there, Mr. Scott Cloven. How you doing, Doc?
Hey man, I'm all right, man. We're ready to roll.
My God.
I'm excited. Man. We got somebody on today, man. And I like this guy, man.
Absolutely.
He makes me want to run through a wall. So hey.
That's what it's all about, man. For those who
Yeah.
are joining us, thank you for joining us. Welcome to Dreams Podcast. As we say all the time, Dreams Podcast stands for discipline, respect, education, accountability, maturation, and success. For the gentleman who is joining us today, needs no introduction, but I will try my best. We have Mr. Coach Jay Gruden joining us. Coach, thank you for joining us. I know it's been a few trips you say you had to make here and there, but if I may, just give you a few flowers, if I may. So we have Coach Jay Gruden with us, joining the Dreams Podcast. And for those who don't know, this gentleman is a winner. And that's all it's about. It's about winning. It's about discipline. Very similar to the things that we speak about. But just to give you a little caveat of his career, for those who don't know, you all probably thought he just coached, or he probably just, one of those mean guys yelling. But no, he actually one of those guys who played the game, who understands the game, had a great career, starting in the Arena League, winning MVP 2 times, winning 4 championships. From there, going on to coaching within the league. From there, going on to coach with his brother, winning a Super Bowl as an offensive assistant, also being a head coach at Washington Commanders, also being on the Cincinnati Bengals, developing Andy Dalton, getting him to 3 playoff appearances. Also, with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So really doesn't need an introduction, but hopefully I did you some justice. Joining us today, we have Coach Jay Gruden. Thank you for joining us, Coach.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. It's a pleasure to be on here with my man, Scott Clement. I mean, I haven't seen him in forever. He looks the same, just tall and pretty, always looking good, man.
So you know him, Coach. You know him.
You know, he's wear the tight spandex pants all the time. Remember that?
Hey. No, man. In college, man, I saw some film of Jerry Rice, and he's the GOAT. And I was like, man, I want to be like Jerry. So I started wearing tights, and then I fast forward, I ended up spending a year in San Francisco, and the whole receiving corps wore tights, and so I fit right in. So
Yep.
it just felt comfortable, man. So yeah, that's what I did, man. It just, one thing, Jay, I gotta say, I always appreciate about you, man. You're honest, and in a world where people aren't very authentic. Jay, that's one thing I can say about Jay, just a good guy. And, it's about production. If you produce, hey, he's going to reward you.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people can't handle honesty anymore. They want to be sugar-coated all the time, patted on the back. Sometimes honesty is important for people to understand where they have to get better at. And sometimes you can't coach guys nowadays because they get all upset and their parents call or whatever. It's unfortunate because football is a very tough physical sport. You have to be mentally tough.
Yeah.
If you're not mentally tough, then you won't succeed in football. That's why I try to toughen up my players, not just physically, but mentally.
Yeah. And I was going to ask that in terms of just with your style, because like I said, if a guy produces and does well, you will reward him. But if a guy, if he doesn't do what he needs to do and doesn't produce, Jay will let you know.
Right? It's about coaching too. So I have to take accountability that maybe I'm not getting the most out of the said player you're talking about, and the guys that do produce, you still have to continue to coach them and make sure they continue to produce on a consistent basis. That's the tough part about coaching. Sometimes you got the guys in there that can really play hard and play well. Sometimes you have to coach a little extra hard, and sometimes you just don't have the players and you can't get the wins and you get fired. So, I've been on all types of the edge of the spectrum on that one.
Yeah. You know what, man? You're the love coaching Jackie, man. He great cover guy, 6'2", rangy. You'd have liked him, man.
Yeah, a little press corner in the boundary. Your corner,
perfect.
I can do whatever you need. I was press corner, play safety, play linebacker. I just love it. Yeah, I played. Yeah. I love the game.
You would have been a great because he played receiver in high school. He could play both ways.
Yeah.
A really good receiver. Yeah. You would have been.
Oh, now Scott. So I think.
I know. But hey, it leads to my first question, Jay. I mean, when you think about, I started doing research on you, and I was just like, wow, it was so many different layers to you in different places you in the numbers you put up. I was just like, whoa. I actually got a little overwhelmed because obviously you're trying to condense everything, and I'm just like, man. But when you think about all the lives you touched, the relationships you built, the places you've been, and what you've accomplished as a player and a coach, like what comes to mind?
I'll tell you what, I have had a great career for sure. And you're right. It's about the people that you've met and been with and played with and coached under, and coaches you've coached with. So yeah, that's the most important thing. I still have a little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth, the way it all ended the last year with Dan Snyder, and the way, all our players got hurt, and we had some disagreements there through the media, and things happened in a negative way. It shined a negative light on the career that I had there. And so I do have a little bitter taste about that, but getting up to that point, being with the Cincinnati Bengals, coaching UFL, coaching the Arena League, playing in the Arena League, coaching for my brother for 7 years, those were all unbelievable experiences, and it really made me a better person, a better coach, and getting that opportunity at Washington. Unfortunately, I did make it 5 years and really 7 contracted years, which is pretty good under that owner. So I can't be too upset, but you're right. You just, every place that I was at every year, it's just a total different year, different players and different people that you have a great time with and great memories.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if you knew this, Jay, I spent 2 years there, 03 and 04 in Washington. So I know, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. We would, and I'll let Jackie, fire off too. But man, I remember going so I played for Steve Spurrier and another guy who was honest, actually. Steve Spurrier would just say, hey man, we have guys making a certain amount of money, so they're going to get first crack at it. If they can't get it done, or if there's an injury, then then you'll get a shot. You know how you get some coaches get on there talking about, they'll say, oh, it's fair. Yeah. No, if this guy's making $30 million a year and you're making $500,000, I mean, come on, man.
It's tough.
I mean, it's what it is.
Sometimes if you're not, sometimes you may want to move on from that 30 million and play that 500,000, save some money on the and then go get another 30 million or
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So it can work out in your favor as well. But
yeah.
I had the guy Fred Smoot used to play. Remember Fred Smoot? He played for the Redskins back in the day. And he told me a story about Steve Spurrier coming in the locker room after the game. They got their asses beat. And he says, all right, fellas, let's hurry up and get dressed before they come in here, kick our ass again.
hey, look, hey, Steve Spurrier too. Hey, dude, hey, and don't let it. Hey, when it start getting cold, and you you have everything scripted, like the plays. And he's a Florida boy, right? So he's woo, and he's like, hey, we're only gonna run 7 plays, and he'll cut that script down quick, and let's get out of here, man. But good dude, man, great offensive mind. And I just remember, man, I remember guys getting cut, and you come into the meeting room and Coach Spurrier is like, where's such and such? And he's like, oh, he got cut. And I was just like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And they're cutting guys without even talking to the head coach.
Well, we actually signed, when Kirk Cousins left us to go where'd he go? Minnesota or whatever. We signed Alex Smith, and my son came out of the room and said, hey, Dad, you guys just got Alex Smith. He saw it on Twitter before I even knew about it. So, yeah. 5 minutes later, get a call. Hey, Jay, we got Alex Smith. I go, we give up for him. We gave up a 3rd-round pick in Kendall Fuller, my starting nickel. I go, why the hell do we trade for him? They were going to let him go. We could have got him for nothing. But, oh, well.
Yeah.
I like Alex.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then when you mentioned the way you departed in Washington, if you don't mind, I don't know if you're comfortable with it, what was the bitter tasting about?
Well, the last year we had, when we got Alex, it was my 4th year. We were 6-3. We had a 2-game lead in the division. We were playing pretty good. Our defense was getting better. Then he got hurt, and Colt McCoy broke his leg the following week. We finished 7-9. And Alex's injury was so bad, we weren't guaranteed to get him the following year. So we had to draft a quarterback the next year. And we had a big spat about who we were going to draft in that draft, a big disagreement. Didn't work out, obviously. And then during the off season, typically they give my coaches a year extension because they have 2-year contracts. So when when they go down to 1 year, they typically extended them. They didn't do it that year. So I kind of knew the writing on the wall was there. We lost Jordan Reed for the season. We lost Trent Williams, wasn't coming back, our Hall of Fame left tackle. Darius Geis wasn't coming back. He hurt his knee. Reuben Foster hurt his leg in practice. We had so many injuries. It was like a B team that we're trying to field there. And we started out 0-5, and then I got fired out after the 5 games. And it's just not the way I wanted to go out. 100%. And they showed some picture in a paper of me from like 7 years ago. I was at a summer party or whatever from 7 years. It happened to pop up the day before I got fired. It's not coincidence, but so a lot of things kind of ticked me off. But I'm over it all now. I'm a big Redskins Commander fan now. They got a new owner. I love Jaden Daniels. I like what they're doing. Yeah. Dan Quinn's a hell of a guy, hell of a football coach. And so I'm a big fan now.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's thank you for sharing that, Coach. And that's what I think a lot of people really understand. It's way, way more than they realize. They think it's just the X's and O's and getting out there, but you hit it on the head. It's the discipline, it's the command, it's the accountability, it's being honest, it's being genuine, it's able to look a man in the eye and tell him exactly what he needs to hear and what he needs to do to take care of his family and take care of his job. So for those who don't understand that, maybe the game is not for you, but that's what this game is about: honesty, the integrity of it. And I'm just going to switch a little gears on that in that favor, because in doing that, most people don't realize how many hours to put in on a daily basis when you're coaching and doing all these things. Can you walk us through a typical day of what it is to be an NFL offense coordinator and also the duties of the NFL head coach?
Yeah, it's tough. The offseason is not quite as bad. That's more about getting prepared. You have your different stages of the offseason. You have free agent. First of all, you have to take care of your own players, who you want to sign, who you want to re-sign. Then you have free agency. You have to attack positions of need, make sure you sign the guys that you want and try to get, upgrade your team through free agency. Then you have the draft. You have all the draft people you got to grade, and that's a lot of players you got to grade. Then you have OTAs and training, mandatory OTAs, all that stuff. That's fun. I think that was my most fun part about coaching was the off season. It was where you could actually be a hands-on coach and fundamentals and get to look at a lot of different guys and different schemes and try different things. I love that part of it. You weren't, staying out till 11 o'clock at night, getting up at 3 a.m. Now, once the season starts, after training camp, that's where it becomes pretty difficult. Let's say you play a game on a Sunday, Monday morning, you got to get in there, you got to grade the film and make sure you make all the corrections necessary, look at the injury report, make sure who's going to be available, whether you're the coordinator or head coach. And then you got to jump right into your next opponent. First, after your meetings with the players and the corrections are made, then you have to jump into your next, say you're playing the Steelers. You got to look at their base defense, their sub defense, their blitz packages, their coverages, what they do on first down, second down, third down, goal line, red zone, all these things you have to get ready for, draw cards up for the practice, the walkthroughs, red zone. It is probably most guys probably get in about 5. I used to like getting in about 3:30, 3:45. I like to get a good hour and a half, 2 hours of work in before anybody else showed up. That was the best time for me to get something done. Because once people come in and out of your office, you become distracted and you can't focus. So I would try to get home probably around 9 o'clock at night, get me about 5-6 hours sleep, and do the next thing the next day. And each day is, you try to be specific in your plan and how you want to attack so the players have a good understanding. This is what we're going to attack this today with this part of the field, this down and distance, whatever it might be. So you give them a good fundamental understanding of here's what we're going to get better. Here's what we need to do. Here's how we're going to attack said defense. And just every day is different because you're playing somebody different. You have different players on your team that might be in and out because of injury, and you're attacking different weaknesses of coverage or a defense or a personnel player. So yeah, you just got to continue to be able to get better every day and attack different ways and coach your players up.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's a lot. Being there, it's crazy hearing it because we actually went through it. When you hear it, Scott, it is different. And that coach,
you just think about it. When you come in, you got the the installation on the board. Somebody has to put that together.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Then you go to a walkthrough and all these plays that you're doing, somebody has to draw the cards. Somebody has to script the plays on the script. And you come in, you watch that tape, you watch a walkthrough, you go have lunch, you go back on the field, you got all these periods, first down, 9-on-7, 7-on-7, third down, red zone. somebody is drawing up all those damn plays for your scout team defense and all that and scripting. It's a lot of work, man. It takes a lot of time. And so I miss it a little bit. I miss the competition of it, but I don't miss the hours, not one bit.
Yeah. So are you saying you were at the facility
3:40?
When you said 3:45, I was like, is he talking PM or?
No, you had to get in early. You had to get in early, especially on, sometimes on Mondays, because if we had a Sunday night game, I try to sleep in a little bit. So Mondays, I probably would get in probably closer to 7, just because when we played at home in Washington, it was like a road game. It was hard to get back and forth to. It just took a lot of time, a lot of energy. And sometimes I drown my sorrows after a loss or celebrate a victory. So I need a little extra time to rest and recover. So Monday morning, I'd probably get in there about 6. But the rest of the time, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're in there early because you got all the scripting you got to do and make sure you get everybody on the right spot and make sure you're drawing this play up for this defense. The cards have to be perfect because you have scout team defense. They don't know what exactly you want. You're a third player, you're a half player, so it's hard. Yeah,
no, man. I mean, but switching gears, Jay, you're obviously, man, you're a football legend in general, but you're definitely obviously the arena football legend. Jackie, this guy, so this guy just was he played, right, and then he started coaching, but they had a year where I don't know if your quarterback got hurt or something. Jay was the coach, and then he suited back up.
He got in the game
after 5 years. Yeah.
So he was, if I'm mistaken, you were QB. I think he was quarterback and coaching.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
I played 6 years. We won 4 championships from 91 to 96, and then I started having a kid. I didn't have kids, but my wife had children. So our insurance was not very good in the Arena Football League. So I went into coaching. I went to coach Nashville Cats in 1997. The salary was about the same, but the insurance for the kids, I needed that. So I started coaching there. And then after 1 year, I went to Orlando as a head coach, and we won the championship in 98 and 2000. And in 2002, our quarterback got hurt. My best friend, who's a line coach, Fran Popsadero, he was thinking about leaving to become a head coach somewhere else. I said, you know what? I'll come back and play after 5 years and you become the head coach. Right. So I came back and played 2 years, and I kind of wish I wouldn't have done. I threw 50 touchdowns and 1 interception my last year, but I had a major injury to my leg. That's another whole different story, and like a 9-hour surgery, and I'm still limping on that sucker. But it was fun. It was fun while it lasted. I probably shouldn't have come back though after 5-year hiatus.
That's
the guy that hurt me, Kelvin Ingram. I know if you're watching, Kelvin, you can lie if you want to. I know he did it on purpose. I threw a little hitch route to the right, and I was standing there watching the guy run, and all of a sudden I felt my leg. Kish! He did one of those, and my whole leg snapped. They thought it was my ankle, so I came back and played like 5 weeks later. But when I went to training camp with my brother as a coach, I was limping, and the trainer goes, "What in the hell's wrong with your ankle?" I said, "I just tore ligaments, I guess." I go, "No, I had broke my leg, and the femur and the tibia grew apart, so I'd have like a 10-hour surgery." And so I played like 6 games with a broken leg, and still lit them up, Scott. Still lit them up.
But you still 50 touchdowns and 1 interception.
That was the year I played most of the year with a broken leg. Yeah.
Damn.
That's pretty.
Jay, if you can, give me your top 3 arena football players. The question I put actually top 3 arena football moments, and then give me your top 5 players of all time arena football.
All right. My top moments for me personally was 1996 when we beat the Iowa Barnstormers in the barn, Kurt Warner. Something about playing a road game it was packed house. That barn was nuts. And Kurt was awesome, and we had a great game, and I didn't even play that good, but we won 42-36. Another top moment as a player was winning my first Arena Bowl. We went to Detroit and beat Tim Markham. Tim Markham for the Detroit Drive. Their owner was named John Illich. He owned I think it was Domino's or one of those pizza chains. So they were paying all their players a bucket load of money. Arch Sleester, they had all these good players, and we had all these slappies making like $300 a week. We went up there and beat them and win that championship. Yeah, so those are my 2 as a player for sure. And then the other championships were great. But as a coach, my first year as a head coach, man, we went Orlando Predators, went to Tampa Bay. we were 13.5-point underdogs. And it was probably the greatest quarter of football I've ever been a part of. The third quarter in the 1998 Arena Bowl, you got to check it out. We didn't complete one pass.
Wow.
And we beat these guys to death. We intercepted Peter Tom Willis 4 times. Rick Hamilton had like 80 yards rushing in the Arena League. It's never heard of, right?
Yeah.
And we scored every which way other than a forward pass. Rick Hamilton had a rush. Kenny McIntyre had a pick. David Mason had a pick. Chris Barber had a pick. We had tight end. I mean, it was nuts. Kickoff return. Barry Wagner was unbelievable. So yeah, that one. And then we had a road game against Dallas. I had a lot of great. The thing about the Arena Football League was so great. There's so many good games and classic games that you're part of. I could be here for an hour and tell you about all these games that I was part of. But those are probably the top 3. And then the best players of all time, you got to go Barry Wagner's got to go test just because of what he did as a receiver, as a returner. And not many people know that he was the best kickoff cover guy to ever play. I mean, that's how we scored also in the third quarter. We kicked it off, and Barry Wagner forced a fumble to recover it in the end zone. Yeah. But he was an incredible all-purpose player, and he played hurt. He was incredible. And then Eddie Brown was also fun. They're the top 1-2 guys voted on. And then, of course, I think Kenny McIntyre was the best corner to play. He would change possession. He would get interceptions. He had great ball skills. People were scared to throw to him. So I think Kenny McIntyre, to me, defensively, is the best defensive player. And then we had a guy named Greg White, who was the best pass rusher. Man, he was unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. So those are my top guys that I've played against or coached. So I coached Wagner, McIntyre, and Styles White. So that's why I'm a little biased.
So, but no, fun fact. So we had Styles on the show.
Right.
So Styles and I met. We both played with the Washington Redskins at the time. That's how we met before. So I agree. When I was thinking about that, I have never seen a guy rush the passer like this. He was killing people, man.
Well, he actually when he did it, so he had to play mainly on the left side because we had a guy named Henry Taylor who was only a right-handed. He played on the right side. So when Henry Taylor left, Styles was able to switch around. He killed people. And after that year, I talked my brother into signing him. He actually got 2 or 3 good years with the Tampa Bay Bucks. I think he got 7 or 8 sacks, and he played pretty good.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to put him at 3 technique so he'd be a little bit closer to the quarterback. He didn't quite have the closing speed to be an edge rusher on the outside, but he still had a pretty good career with Tampa Bay.
Yeah. And Jackie, Barry Wagner, dude, this guy he never came off the field, and I didn't fully respect it until I actually played it when I was with the New York Dragons. 2001. So I played in the XFL, and then I went right to New York. Me and Kevin Swain flew down. Yeah. And so we played Orlando. It was like week 6 or something. They came to New York, and they beat us. They beat us. But I was proud. I went up, so I matched up with Barry Wagner. He scored 2 and I scored 2. So I mean, and I had no idea at that point, like playing DB, I was like, I was a little shaky, but this guy never, the thing I just remember in the fourth quarter, I was on my knees and I was like, and my teammates like, man, get up. Don't let them know you're tired. And I'm like, I am dead. I was dead. And this guy, he's not even breathing hard. He never came off the field.
Crazy, man. He was like, his knees were like bone on bone too, man. I mean, I don't know how he played. To be honest, the last couple of years that I coached him, even he never came off the field. You're right.
No. Yeah.
And he'd run down. He'd be always, and he ran like 4.65. But he'd always be the first guy down on kickoff. He'd be all the faster guys down there and make a tackle. He was incredible. Play linebacker, corner. I mean, he's
everything.
He was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I do remember those days, Scott. You and I spoke, especially when you went down there. So I remember that, man. So look. Competition is always competition. And Coach, you hit it on it earlier, and you said about the insurance. Like you said, when your wife got pregnant with the insurance. Now, for you and your wife's name is Sherry. You guys were college sweethearts. You got married pretty young. Talk about what she's meant to you, throughout this process of your professional football career, player, and a coach. But not only that, as your biggest fan.
Yeah, she's been very supportive, and it's not easy because she really had a good career. She was in real estate business, doing very well for Coldwell Banker in Orlando. Then we went to Nashville. She actually got a really good job working for, could have got a job with the bowl that was there. I can't remember the name of the bowl, but she would have run the whole bowl. And she just packed up and came to Orlando and all that stuff. So she's always been supportive, a great, incredible mother, and then now grandmother. So we have 3 grandchildren as well. But yeah, it's always good to know that when you have a tough day, you got somebody at home that is going to try to bring you up.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I don't allow it to happen. I say, let's leave me be. Let me make this stuff for a little while longer.
Let me talk for a minute. Yes, absolutely.
But a lot to be said about, when you're together. We've been, I think now it's almost 34 years. It's crazy how much.
Yeah,
35. 35, something like
35,
that.
Yeah, I looked it up. Yeah, 1990, man. You got me.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey, Jackie, funny. It was funny. I'll never forget. We were getting ready to play Philadelphia, and they were in Orlando, and we're warming up. And Bon Jovi owned the Philadelphia arena football team, Philadelphia Soul.
Yeah.
And so she's all excited to meet this guy, and I'm like, who is this guy? So he comes over. Somebody brought him over to meet her. She's like, hey, And so I said, who is that? She's like, it's Bon Jovi. Me at the time, I was in culture and all this guy from Compton. I had no idea who Bon Jovi was. And I was like, who is that? Right. So fast forward, I'm in Boston a few years later, and I went to a Red Sox game, and they have all these bars down there, and that song "Shot to the Heart" comes on. And I was like, oh, I like this song. Who was that? And then somebody was like, oh, that's Bon Jovi. And I was like, and then
I know
that. I don't know.
Yeah. Coach, to that, man, thank you for sharing that. And many people don't realize the commitment on both sides for the marriage, man. So like you said, being your biggest fan, going through that. And I am so grateful that you shared what you shared, because many people, they don't recognize that. Like you said, some days you don't allow it because it's predicated on if we lost, if how practice went, what happened here, like that. So thank you for sharing it, because a lot of people think it's all peachy keen. No, it's not. It's not.
No,
it's not. So thank you for that, man. Absolutely.
You definitely have your ups and downs, people. It's not always going to be perfect.
Absolutely.
Believe me, you have your issues. She has her issues. You just got to work through them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I mean, like you said,
I'm pretty close to being perfect. I tell her that all the time.
That's what we all say.
You don't accomplish all these things without being close to perfect.
That's what it is, man. Yeah, right.
Hey, but Jay, I mean, obviously, like you said, it's been 35 years, and here again, you have your ups and downs. Nothing's perfect, but if you were giving advice to someone that's in their 20s who thinking about getting married around the same time you did, and they're coaching professional sports, like what you've learned, what advice would you give them?
Wow. First of all, from trying to be a coach in professional sports is very difficult. We know that. I mean, you got to have a lot of luck. You got to work your tail off and make the most of every opportunity you get, because you don't know what the next one's going to be. Just make sure that you meet as many people as you can. You try to climb the ladder the correct way and working hard and doing the right thing and doing your job. Focus on your job. Don't worry about the next job until you dominate the job you're in. But then trying to balance a relationship as well is difficult, because you have to put the time in, and the woman is going to want you to spend some time with her. You don't need to work that many hours. If I want to get to where I want to get, I am going to have to work this many hours. So you have to have the right woman that understands that, and hopefully it works out. Otherwise you have to find another profession. My dad was in coaching, so I kind of knew how it was growing up. Obviously, my brother was in coaching. I knew how much he had to put in, and I think my wife understood that coming in. So I was a GA when I met her, and she knew that I was working all those hours being a GA for Howard Schnellenberger. So she understood that coming in. But for people who don't really understand the amount of hours, and it's sometimes not a lot of money at the time either. So you're working 16, 15 hours a night, 15 hours a day, you're making, barely enough money for me to go get my nails done. We got problems, but you got to make sure you understand it's for the greater good. And I'm going to continue to work and climb the ladder, and hopefully it'll all work out. But it's tough. I'll tell you what, it's not easy.
Yeah. But you got the payoff at, I bet she was happy when you got to Cincinnati, and Jack, you got to Washington. She's like, okay.
She just got a hole-in-one today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she plays a lot of golf now. She got a hole-in-one today. It was only 60 yards. So I call it a chip in, but it's a hole-in-one.
Hey man, I mean, anytime you
That's
can
her
do that.
third one. Yeah. So yeah,
Oh,
she's gonna play a
wow.
lot of golf. She's doing really good. So we have a good time. We have similar interests, so that helps a lot right now.
100%. I talk about that is in a relationship, what I've learned for sure, similar interests, because that's time that you guys can spend together.
Yeah.
Where,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Watching some silly show on Netflix or playing golf. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
there you go. There you go, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Got to get better at my golf game, Coach. I got a few clubs, but I bring them out maybe 3 or 4 times a year, and I can only play a front nine or a back nine. I can't do the whole 18.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. They have good executive courses. They're like 12-hole courses. That's good for a lot of people for just starting. But I don't know what I'd do without golf. I'd probably be going crazy right now. So I mean, I play like 5 days a week, and it's a great way for me to continue to compete, whether I'm competing against an opponent or I'm competing against myself, just trying to get better. I mean, golf is so hard. Every shot is different. Grip is different. Choke up, no choke up, all the way backswing, short backswing, putting. That's a whole different level. She's chipping. Ah, dang, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we want to make sure that we give somebody else some recognition and understanding. So for you and your wife, you got 3 sons. You got JJ, you got Joy, and you got Jack.
Yeah.
So I see that smile come on your face. So being, the proud dad, man, we all, have kids. So if you could share some proud dad moments with us through this process, as far as, all the things you've had to do and the balancing act, that allows you to spend that pivotal time with your kids and with your family.
Yeah, I'm just proud of all 3 of them for who they are. They're all different. They're all great kids. They've been in trouble growing up, like a lot of kids have. They're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I'm sure you could probably Google their names and say, hey, this guy's not. No, they're all great kids. People love to be around them. They're happy. They're funny. 2 of them are good dads and husbands. JJ just got a job in Tampa. He works for a flooring company, doing a great job, selling his tail off, and has 2 unbelievable kids, Trey and Jacob. And then Joey's the basketball coach at Stetson University, assistant basketball coach. He just got married a couple years ago and has a 10-month-old granddaughter named Addison Grace. She's unbelievable. And Jack still lives here. He works for a government contracting company called SOSI. He does a good job for them. And they're all 3 happy, and they're all 3 good kids, and very proud of all 3 of them, no doubt about it.
Absolutely, man. And I can say the same for Scott. I don't know if you know, Scott has a daughter who's one of the top, pretty much Canadian gymnasts in Canada. So I want to say congratulations to you on that too, my man. So
gymnast, how tall is she?
I know that's
she's
the
tall,
problem.
Coach. She's tall.
She's like 5. Yeah, man, she's 14 and she's like 5'8". So
I thought you were gonna say like volleyball player or something like
that.
I
know, because she's gonna. I would assume she's probably gonna end up. Yeah, that may be a good sport to switch her, because I don't know. She's really good, but she's the average gymnast is like they're like 5'2" or something.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying she can't. I just
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's just but most of the gymnasts that do get tall, they end up switching. They end up going to diving or track and field. They end up, most of them are really good pole vaulters. But volleyball, she probably I might see how she's athletic.
Good athletes will find something to do, but that's incredible, man.
Yeah. That's a tough sport. That's a
lot of work, man. That's a lot of work. I don't know how they do that stuff.
They train 5 hours a day. Wow. So she goes to a sports school, and they're done around 12:30, and then she eats her lunch in the car, and they start gym at 1.
Damn.
And then they're done at 5:45.
Wow. That's nuts.
Crazy, dude. Yeah, I know. And some of the stuff I see, I'm just like, oh my God. Like, I'm just, like it hurts my body. Hey, that's when you get old. When somebody does something, you're like, damn, that hurts my body just looking at it.
Just looking at it. Yeah.
So, man. But no, man, as we're coming to an end here, but man, obviously you've reached the pinnacle, winning championships as a player, as a coach, obviously coached in the NFL. Like, I would say, give us the highest moment that you can think of, but also give us the lowest moment that you can think of in your football career, player or coach.
Yeah, I think probably the highest moment was when we came out of the tunnel against the Green Bay Packers in the first playoff game that I coached in at Washington. I took over a team that wasn't very good. We had a quarterback controversy. I ended up having to make a tough decision going with Kirk Cousins over RG3. A lot of people did not like me for that. RG3 was a very popular player here in Washington, but it just didn't work out. Kirk Cousins ended up being proven to be a better player, but we went to the playoffs that year. We started out 1-4, I think it was, and I was about to get fired. And we went on like a 7 out of our last 9 games, 8 out of our last 9 games, and went to the playoffs. And just coming out of the tunnel, seeing the entire stadium was decked out in Redskins gear and the cheer we got, and being part of that playoff atmosphere was incredible. That was probably my top moment coaching. We ended up losing the game, but it was a hell of a start to the game. I think we jumped on them like 14-3 or something. It was awesome, just the environment. And then my low point was, when we lost to New England, my 5th game of the year, I got the call about 11 o'clock at night, and they said, "Hey, Jake, I'm in the office first thing in the morning." And I went straight there and getting fired. It's the first time I've ever really been fired like that. And I just didn't like the way it went down. I was just left a bad taste in my mouth because I didn't feel like it was my team. We had some free agents and some players that I didn't feel very good about having. Everybody talks about culture on the team, but I couldn't control the culture because I couldn't pick the players and cut the players I wanted to cut, or, can't always sign all the guys that you want. I understand that, but keeping the players and drafting some of the guys, I just had a bad taste in my mouth. Even some of the coaches I was forced to coach with, I just didn't like the way it ended. And, No,
well,
that was a low point.
Definitely, man. I mean, 2 things. I'll never forget. Bill Parcells. He says, "Hey, if you want me to cook the meal, let me do the grocery shopping."
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Don't expect me to cook this gourmet meal.
I'm not trying to cry over spilt milk or anything like that. I was very, very fortunate to have an opportunity to be a head coach in the National Football League. It just wasn't the way I wanted to
100%.
end. You know what I mean? I would have loved to have more of an opportunity to pick the players and do more. You know what I mean? And maybe I wouldn't have been. I may still not have succeeded, but it would have been a lot more. It would have been easier to lose your job knowing that I did this, so I should get fired instead of, I didn't want to do that anyway.
It's just crazy. But look, it's just crazy. Like you get fired, and this is the thing that I don't rationalize with. It's like you have all these injuries, which you have no control over. Yeah, I mean, you would think you would get some sort of grace, but it is.
A lot of guys do. They didn't buy it with me, though. We were on our, even my last year, Alex wasn't back yet. We signed Case Keenum. He hurt his leg. Then we had to go to another quarterback, so we were 0-5 there. And I mentioned Jordan Reed. He got hurt in training camp. I mentioned Trent Williams was the best tackle to ever play. He didn't play. I mean, so we're playing with, instead of Trent Williams, we're playing with Donald Penn, who's 38-year-old left tackle. I mean, it's a little different. It's a little different. And then instead of Jordan Reed, we're playing with another tight end who, it's different. It's a whole different offense. And now you got to chip the left. You have to help the left tackle in all pass protections. Your tight end's not getting open, and your Darius Geis is not there. And so we had a lot of issues, but we gave it a shot, man. It was
a shot. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you're part of the 1%. 1% of the 1%.
Yeah.
How many people can say they got a head
coach
job?
I'm not too upset over it. I just wish we had a full group, and then if you get fired, it's one thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that. I knew that QB change was coming because I knew because it wasn't working.
Yeah.
I just remember it wasn't working, and I seen Kirk Cousins. Whenever he played, he's just played really well.
Yeah.
And he was one of those guys. He's just processed. Nothing against RG3. He was a good player.
But I think when you saw them side by side, not only but in OTAs and training camp and every day at practice, I mean, it was pretty evident. One guy threw the ball a hell of a lot better. Now the other guy was a special athlete. I mean, he ran 4.3 for God's sakes. He was a straight line 4.3 runner. It wasn't an elusive 4.3, but he was a good athlete. But and then after his injury, he wanted to transition more into a drop back quarterback. He wasn't quite there. I mean, that takes a while to transition too.
Yeah.
You can't be a zone read quarterback. Then the next day, hey, I want to be Peyton Manning. Yeah, no, I don't think so.
No,
not gonna work.
Not gonna work.
Yeah, not gonna work. That's solid though. Yeah, and it's crazy you bring that up, man, because Scott, I've shared this with you, and when I was coming out of high school, I'll never forget this. I was at the game Peyton Manning started playing. They were playing against Florida, and Tennessee had a quarterback. His last name was Colquitt, African-American quarterback. He gets hurt against Florida, and we're at the game, they got us sitting there, and Peyton comes in and he starts playing, and I'm sitting there, and this is Peyton. If you see this, I'm sorry, but this is what I said. I say, man, that guy with that big helmet can really play, man. I was like,
Yeah.
like, no, I'm serious. Florida was killing them. They had him down like, I think it was like 35 or 38-3. He came in and scored between 14 and 21 points, and just like this. So I totally understand what you're saying when you place them side by side and you see the difference in the delivery, just the confidence and everything. Because I seen that, I was like, man. And then I didn't choose to go to Tennessee, but years later, Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things I can truly say I saw it firsthand. I was like, this dude's gonna be pretty good in Hall of Fame. So yeah. So that's something, man. But yeah, with the RG3 thing, Kirk Cousin, I think it was bound to happen. There's always going to be, I'm not going to say finger pointing or scapegoats, but in some case in the business that we're in, that I was in, we know that's what happens, And
it's hard because he had such a great rookie year, and expectations were pretty high, but the injury happened, and maybe I wasn't the right coach for him, but they hired me so it just didn't work out. It's all well documented.
No, absolutely.
And he had a couple other opportunities that didn't work out either, but here we are.
Here we are.
Absolutely. So, because that leads us right to the next segue, man. And it's kind of cool that it comes down in such a way, because very similar to what you were just speaking about early in your career. If you can go back and have a conversation with the 25-year-old Jay Gruden, how would that conversation look, and what's the best advice you think you could give him?
Whew. That's pretty good, because I've been very fortunate, very lucky in all aspects between the family life. That's the most important thing, is make sure you take care of your kids and your wife. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. It's when it's all said and done, it's not Super Bowl rings and Arena Bowl rings and all that stuff. It's obviously those fun for me personally, but kids and the grandkids is what you want to make sure you prepare yourself for, and make sure you're doing whatever you can to make sure they're taken care of. And then, I really don't have a lot of regrets as far as my career is concerned. I tried my best. I worked my hardest. Probably towards the tail end, or some things I wish I would have probably done differently. But the most important thing is try to stay loyal and work your ass off and take care of your family and live. You only live once. You know what I mean?
Yeah, once, yeah.
You only have some fun. I mean, you don't have to be. Damn. You gotta have some fun.
You got to. Yeah,
definitely, man. Yeah, definitely, dude.
Wow.
Yeah. It's no test. It's not a test drive.
Yeah,
it's the real deal. Yeah. Like I always say, man, you only get one body, so take care of it too. But I mean, it's ironic, man. It's just like I said, man. It's a pleasure to have you on, man. As we wrap this up, man. Again, D.R.E.A.M.S Podcast, Locker Room to Reality. And Jay just embodies everything we stand for. He has the discipline. Everyone, you can't meet anybody who didn't respect him. You had to respect him, because he earned your respect, right? And he continued to elevate and grow. You look at a guy who, started off in the Arena Football League after some short stints in the NFL. I saw you went to NFL Europe too. Yeah.
I tried to play in NFL Europe. Yeah, went to 3 weeks I was over there, and I said, you know what? I don't like sitting behind. I sat behind Tony Rice, and I was like, I don't want to sit on a bench, because the Arena League was getting ready to start again. I go, I'm gonna go start for the Storm again. Heck with this. But yeah. I ended up coaching a year as offensive coordinator in the UFL for the Florida. Where the hell were we? Florida, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Damn, can't remember. I was head coach for a year in the UFL.
Okay.
Damn, I can't remember the name. Anyway, then I went to the Bengals after that. So
yeah,
I've had UFL, World League, so been in Arena League. Yeah, so I've been part of every which way. And it's funny how, no matter what league you're in, it's the people that work the hardest and prepare the best and are dedicated are the ones that usually make it. Helps to be tall and fast, like you, Scott. You got to be prepared. You got to work hard, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, and the thing is, it's like, one thing you said, I saw something where They were interviewing elderly people who were like in their 90s. And the one thing they said, if they can go back and advice or change anything, they said they would focus more on their family and relationships and less on material things. And so exactly what you said, you hit the nail on the head, man. Take care of your family, enjoy your loved ones. And that's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. Yeah. Yeah. No, man. Yeah, man. I'll let Jackie say a couple words and we'll let you rest up, Jay. I know you're tired. You was probably on the course this morning.
Yeah, I walked 18. My legs are killing me.
Get an ice tub, man.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Now, Coach, I just thank you, man. I really, really do. A lot of the things you share with us today for the people who will see this. And yeah, Scott, no, I get emotional, because the craziest thing is, like Scott said, and like you said, that's the most important thing. The rings, the cheers, all that, that's fine. But if you have no one to share it with, you come home to an empty home, you know what I'm saying? You don't have those pitter patters of those feet or just that kind word to say, how your day? How was your day? How are you doing? And man, like you said, you hit that so much on the head with the family and just being, entrenched in that. Because like we say, this game's going to come and go. It's going to come and go. And man, the way you've done it, I commend it. And I'm pretty sure I won't be the only one to say it. But for those who, as Scott mentioned, the lives you touched, the people you've taught, the people you've worked beside, the people you've helped, the championships you've won, and the relationships that you've garnered, they're unbelievable, man. So I'm pleased, I'm honored, and I'm humbled to be a part of this process right here. And thank you for joining us, and thank you for sharing your story. I really do.
No, thank you for having me. And don't forget your mom and dad either, man. Gosh, my mom passed away not too long ago. My dad's still kicking it up, but they were such a major part in my upbringing and instilling all the necessary things to make yourself a better person, loyalty and hard work and all the good things, man. And so,
Absolutely.
Great point, man. Hey, will we ever see you on the sidelines again?
I don't know, man. I don't think so. Maybe in one game here and there, but I don't think I can really do a whole. Maybe I don't know. It's just,
maybe
it's just a lot of work.
It's a lot.
Consulting.
Yeah. I did that for a year, and it was kind of embarrassing. I didn't really do anything. I couldn't. I got to do something, man. I don't need a handout, man. Sean's a great guy. He gave me a consulting gig with the Rams for a year, but I didn't consult anything. I was like, I'm all right, man. I don't need to do this. They ain't gonna use me.
What he telling us is, when we see those guys getting consultants,
yeah, hell no. You don't do a dang thing.
The beans on it.
Oh man.
Yeah. At least you didn't.
Yeah. I'm sure that's the case. Because you got 30 people on the staff anyway. So yeah, man. Man. But Dreams Podcast, Locker Room to Reality, man. Another amazing episode. Jay Gruden, an absolute legend. And just all around, just a solid good dude, man. Hey man, another episode. You guys take care.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
What?
All right. Appreciate it.